Greetings racers, John here on Mario Kart Hub. And in this video I'm going to be going over a quite needed topic to rank up inside of Mario Kart. And that is the Standstill Mini Turbo, or the SSMT for short. And in this video I'm going to be covering how to use it, why would you use it, and when to and not to use it. So how do you do it, and what does it look like? You basically hold down 1 and 2 with a Wii remote, or A and B with a nunchuck. Anyway, it will basically look like you're sort of stuck for a moment, and then you'll have blue sparks come out of you, at which point you want to let go for a small little mini turbo boost. You'll know when you're doing it, because the camera will go slightly lower to the ground, and there will be a gush of smoke coming from your tyres. And it roughly takes 1.3 seconds for the blue sparks to appear. Why would you ever want to use a standstill mini turbo? Well, if you take a look at my bottom left, you can see my km per hour, and if I use a mini turbo while wheeling, I go up to my top speed of 95 for a second or so. And also if you don't wheelie while doing a mini turbo, you go up to the top speed of 84. Now, depending on what car / bike you use, will depend on whether you even use a standstill mini turbo, as some cars have quite a high acceleration. To be more precise, if your acceleration is above 32, then you don't actually need to use the standstill mini turbo. However, if it's below 32, then I would strongly advise using it, as it will make you go faster. Now if it's on 32, then it's your choice. Now I've made a list here for you guys depending on what car / bike you use, if it's above 32, on 32 or below 32. Now the only car / bike on 32 is the bullet bike. And the only factor that will play into whether you want to use the standstill mini turbo is what character you use, but I'll get into that more in a minute. So depending if the car you use is below 32, then you want to do the standstill mini turbo. And the other time you may want to do a standstill mini turbo is when there's people around you, so you don't get knocked around when slow. Now let me go back to what I said about a second ago about character stats. So character stats can change the effect on whether you use a standstill mini turbo or not. As you can see, there's the statistics of speed, weight, acceleration, handling, drift, off-road and mini turbo. Now characters also have stats like inside of Mario Kart with cars and bikes. However, once again you have to go to the internet to find them because they're not shown inside of Mario Kart. However, the stats that are available are the same as the ones I just listed for cars and bikes. Now the one we're going to be looking at is acceleration. So here I've got a list of the characters with acceleration bonuses in their characters. So Toad and Waluigi have 6, Peach has 5, Baby Peach, Dry Bones, Diddy Kong and a Heavy Me have 3, and Mario and Donkey Kong have a level of 2. Now you may be asking, why is this even relevant or important? Well, because it can change the factor on the very thing that we're talking about. It basically summed up means that if your character has any sort of acceleration bonus, then it could possibly surpass being 32 acceleration, and therefore you won't need to do a standstill mini turbo. Let me break this down to make it more simpler, just to make sure that you've got it. The bullet bike has an acceleration of 32. That's right in between you not knowing whether you want to use the standstill mini turbo or not to use it. Let's take Baby Luigi as an example. Baby Luigi has an acceleration bonus of 0, so his acceleration stat is 0 as a character. So when you put the bullet bike with the acceleration of 32 and Baby Luigi with the acceleration stat of 0, you still have the acceleration stat of 32 when you add them both together. However, if you add the bullet bike acceleration 32 with Dry Bones, who has a character bonus of the acceleration stat being +3, then your acceleration stat goes up to 35 when you use them together, which is above 32, so you won't need to use a standstill mini turbo. Now let's move on to a bit more of a trickier subject. When to and not to use a standstill mini turbo. Well, I think if it's not obvious by now, then you may need to rewatch the video, but if your acceleration is above 32, then you don't need to use a standstill mini turbo. unless you are surrounded by a group of people in which using a standstill mini turbo will give you speed and momentum, so if you get knocked about it won't make you as much slower. Now I'm going to move on to items, because some items will make you go down to 0 to the point where you want to use a standstill mini turbo, and some items will actually make it so you go down to about 15 rather than 0. So this is a bit of a tricky topic to talk about, but I'm going to try and show you guys from gameplay. So stars will take you down to 0. Lightning will take you down to around 20. I want to just apologise for the gameplay here. However, when you dodge a POW, it basically won't do anything to your speed. However, if you don't manage to dodge it, then it will take you down to 0. A blue bomb will also take you down to 0, and a red shell will also take you down to 0 as well. Fake boxes will take you down to 0. A good little thing to note is that while shrunk, if you use a wheelie while a mini boost, then the fastest you can get up to is 67, depending on what car/bike you use. Okay, so here's an example. It's for the final lap, you're both just at the finish line, and you're pretty much neck and neck. I've always been curious which one's faster, going at the normal way or using a standstill mini turbo. Well, I wanted to find out for myself, so I lined myself up and found out by putting the videos side by side. And, as you can quite clearly see, using a standstill mini turbo is much faster. I've been your host John on Mario Kart Hub. Thank you for watching, and make sure to leave a like and also subscribe for more Mario Kart Wii content.